Ladies and gentlemen, chess is hard. But you know what makes it easier? Starting a game with an extra queen. If any of you have ever played a young relative or somebody you know that isn't particularly good at the game, you might offer them queen odds. You just give them your queen and the game begins. Or if you're playing a young relative, they actually give you queen odds because they're much better than you. So this video is being recorded in March 2025, and I'm about to embark on a journey where I play against one of the most powerful chess computers in the world called Leela, and it starts without certain pieces. In this video, we are kicking things off with queen odds. I just made a video called Chess is Done, where the Leela queen odds bot managed to defeat a grandmaster from Slovakia 5 games in a row without a queen, which was crazy, right? Which was absolutely crazy. Yeah, let's take a look. I'm also going to play it with no rook, and I'm also going to play it with no knight, so you can predict the score there. It opened with e4. I'm going to show you 4 games. 4 games are going to be played in this video, and they're all quite fun, quite exciting. So e4, game number 1, I play the move g6, okay? And the reason for this is I thought it was pretty natural to put my bishop on the g7 square from where, you know, it would be targeting the center. Also, yeah, I'm a little bit confused because I don't have headphones plugged into my computer, but my computer is saying that sound is playing in my headphones. I love Windows. Okay, d4, yeah, d4, bishop g7. And how does a, 3,700 level bot play with no queen? b5, well, this is how it plays. e5, e5. So it immediately opens up the position. It wants to target my queen. The way that this computer plays is fascinating level of restriction, trickery, theatricality and deception, to quote Bain. And I wasn't biting. I played bishop b7. I put my bishops like this, and I wanted them to be firing away onto the center of the board, and it went h4. It absolutely loves these flank pawn advances with the rook supporting. If it's able to get the pawn to h6. Now keep in mind, this is the first game. So I'm settling into it, right? This is like round 1 and 2 of like a 12-round boxing match. I go b4. I really like this move. I thought it's really nice to get the knight pushed back. And here I really contemplated c5, just ripping open the position, but I was a little bit hesitant. So I played a little bit more passively. I played pawn takes, and queen c8. And I thought, well, it's going to have to defend its pawn, and then I'm going to, advance and finish up my development. It didn't, though. Leela values aggression. It values trying to actually put pressure on the opponent more than it values, certain pawns. Like, that is just a free pawn. And I was like, well, I'm going to take it. I mean, I'm up a queen and a pawn now, right? And it played knight f3. And here I actually contemplated playing bishop takes f3 just to get rid of one of the pieces and damage the pawns. But then, then Leela's going to open up the attack on the diagonal. It's going to play f4. Like, it's so vicious, even with no pieces on the board. King b1, it plays like a waiting move. And here I thought, oh, this is really nice. Like, when I saw it play this move, and I was like, oh, well, this is obviously good for me. It's bringing its knights backwards, right? Like, this can't be any good. And I played g5, and I thought, well, I'm going to close the position off. It plays h6, restricting me. No problem. I'm going to develop my knight this way to e7. And it goes knight h5. And I was like, uh-oh. Oh, this is really bad. So I played rook g8. My idea of rook g8, I want to put my bishop on h8, obviously. And I want my bishop to continue to target over here. It's not going to take my knight, my bishop with its knight because it doesn't have a lot of pieces. I play knight g6. It goes knight e4. And I bring the bishop back to the e7 square. Mostly because if I went to the h8 square, I was slightly worried I was going to start like losing all my pawns. And now we see why it puts pawns this far into the position, because they make your pawns weak in the long run. Now, keep in mind, this is a blitz game. So we're playing like a 5-minute blitz game. And what's absolutely insane about what you're about to see is that it literally twists me into a pretzel. Like, it has a losing position. I'm just up a full queen. I'm up 10 points of material, but it feels like I cannot make a move. Now, look at me, right? I'm immediately trading off the knight for the bishop. The less pieces it has, the better. I activate my queen defending my bishop, and I bring my bishop back. It only has 4 pieces on the board. But watch as it repositions its pieces perfectly. And here I missed something really beautiful. If I found this, this would have been a fantastic game. Here I was like, well, I want to go rook b8, but I'm a little bit worried about knight takes h7. Like rook b8, knight h7, king here, knight here. If I go here, I lose the bishop with a double check, but I guess my king runs out to d6 and I'm totally safe and I still have a checkmate threat. Instead of that, I can just sack my queen, and this is totally winning. The point is that after this, rook b8 is now a check. You cannot go back because it's mate, and now it's going to be mate quite soon. I didn't see that. I didn't see the counter queen sacrifice. It kind of set me up to fail there. And watch as it repositions its pieces, and I blunder a draw. I blundered a draw. In this position, I can even play queen takes d3, but I didn't want to destabilize my knight, and I didn't have a lot of time remaining. It's a draw if it sacrifices the rook. This is all it needed to trick me. Knight takes h7, king e8. I thought but it's just a draw. It's a draw. It's a 3-time repetition. I'm stuck. I didn't see that at all. And the weird thing is, it also didn't play it. It didn't play it. It's like it didn't want to draw. It thought I could, and I blundered it again, by the way, and it still didn't play it. And then I saw it. I saw that I could sacrifice my queen, and it doesn't even take my queen. I realized I could sack my queen and simply be playing a bishop up position. I play a4, and what ends up happening is we get here, and I'm just up a bishop. So this should be easy peasy. I just need to make a couple of trades, and now I am totally winning in an endgame where I am up 3 pawns, except I don't have a lot of time, but this is easy. I walk my king up the length of the board, I trade down into a totally winning rook endgame, and this should be easy. Look at this, my pawn is on d2, I just have to correctly get out of the way, and I stop that pawn. Now I either advance the h-pawn, and I take, it sort of is dancing its king around, and I blunder a draw. I had about 10 seconds on the clock here, and what I should have played is rook f3. I should have cut the king off, not letting it get close to the pawn, and now this is an easy win, because what happens is the computer will try to go after my pawn. I, do this, rook f7, rook h4, and now I just run out with my king. And the point is that you cannot stop me at all. If you give me a check, I play king e1, and I have rook f1, and you're never getting there fast enough. And I blundered a draw. In low time, I accidentally blunder a draw, and I don't win the first game. Oh, this was so embarrassing. And we shuffled and 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 shuffled, and 138 moves later, we made a draw. I couldn't beat the freaking bot up a queen. That was unbelievable. I mean, granted, at the end, I had like 10 seconds, but then I locked in. Then I said, no, this is so stupid. No. Like, this is, come on. All right. I got the first round jitters out of the way. Now, let's make our queen's presence felt. I'm playing the Scandinavian defense because, for God's sake, I have an extra queen. I have to make the queen useful. This was game number 2, and game number 2 did not disappoint. Queen to a5. It plays b4. Queen takes, rook b1. Notice, by the way, it's giving up pieces. And here, I would bet you would not be able to predict the computer's next move. So it played this gambit, but this gambit usually is when a queen is here, right? It just gambited a pawn. It wanted to activate pieces. The move that I played here was really, really funny. It went g4. I couldn't believe that move. I was like, oh my God. It wants me to take so that it can take on b7, or it wants to put pressure with the bishop. The other thing about g4 is that if I go here, it wants to play g5. It wants to disallow my knight from developing. This is so crazy that this is how the computer thinks. b4, g4, g5. This is how it plays when it's down a queen. I played h6. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna, target this, right? And then it went g6. It is so dead set on making me create holes in my position and potential weaknesses. It's so fascinating. I just took it with the queen. I was like, I'm not gonna damage my structure. And then I could have kept taking pawns, but I was a little bit worried. So I just went back. I said, I am up 11 points. I'm up a queen and 2 pawns. I guarantee there is nothing that this computer can do to me. So I played knight f6. It went here. Again, Whenever I saw it going backwards like this, I immediately gained confidence because I was like, that's not any good. It's just kind of repositioning, and I played this move G5. Again, to prevent anything from coming to F4. It tries to go here to get me to advance. I said, no, thank you. Trade with me so that we trade rooks. The less pieces it has, the less chance I have of blundering. Last game, I only blundered because it started attacking me with its rooks. So now it goes like this. I am full of confidence. Now I play B5 because I'm like, I don't want this knight to come here, and I don't want this to be weak. It targets again. And by the way, taking that pawn might be the best move. I'm like, no, I'm staying solid. I'm staying solid. You cannot scare me. It's using all of its flank pawns to create trickery in the position. I'm not biting. Rook A1. I just play bishop F5. It goes here, and I play knight D5 blocking the center. At this point, I'm totally confident. It does not have the required piece coordination to win the game. Knight B4, knight C2 is incoming. It takes, I take, it attacks, I trade. It doesn't matter because queen B4 check, it has to go backwards. So we just traded 2 more pawns, and I stabilized the position. At this point, full of confidence. I'm like, ain't no freaking way I'm going to lose to this bozo. Ain't no way. Bishop A3. I slide the queen back. The bishop can't move because the rook is hanging. Knight C1. I just develop. All my pieces are in the game. White only has 3 pawns remaining. Everything is in dire straits out here. We're going to convert this position. Knight to B3. Queen back to D8. Now I want to castle by playing bishop here. But while I'm at it, I'm going to play A5. And then I'm going to grab another pawn. Now I have a 3-pawn advantage with an extra queen. Easy peasy. Castles. Advance the pawn. Bishop F3. I just gave it up. I said, you know what? I want the king to be open. You know what Leela did? Hides behind my pawn. It doesn't want its king in the open, right? Because with the king in the open, I could have attacked like this. I could have, I could have sniped down the board. Now I trade the bishop. Now we're going to start removing pieces from the board. Takes. Knight B4 holding everything together. Castles. Take my bishop. I don't care. Queen goes here, targeting the knight. King slides out of the way, making sure it's never in danger, and also a G-file attack. It blocks. I slide the bishop back to G6 just to protect some squares. It takes. I play rook C8. I'm going to pick up a pawn. Knight D3 attacks everything, and now, very simple. Just take the rook. Because this position, I don't care if I'm playing Stockfish, Leela, they could even team up. I could play both of them together. I will win this position 99 times out of 100. The one time I fell asleep. This is easy. White doesn't have enough pieces. I'm still going to be scared, and it's still going to play very nice defense, but I'm going to pry apart the position. I'm going to trade. I got, 2 pieces off the board there, and I'm up a bishop and a bunch of pawns. We just need to remove the rook from the defense. We advance our pawn all the way. We trade down. And again, if I can't win this position, I should probably... I should probably play a different game. Rook F2. It went for a stalemate trap. That was very clever. Rook H3. It goes for a stalemate trap here. Right, very nice idea. I give a check. I take. Now it's over. It loses its last piece. Rook F3, Rook G3. And I advance with my king. And it was mate, and I managed to win. But that was like, I was like, okay, look, that was a joke. So it's evident that if you play aggressively, you don't let it seize the initiative. The only way that it can do anything with its position is to give up material. It has to give up material to activate its pieces. So it will do that. So at a minimum, you will start the game with a 11-point advantage, 10-point advantage. That was easy. All right. I thought, you know what? I felt a little bit bad. Let's play something more closed. I went Sicilian defense. E4, C5. All right. It went F4. That's the Grand Prix attack, or it's kind of like, I don't know, it's some sort of F4 system. D5. I want my queen out. It closes the position. I get even more. I play E5. I want to rip open the position as fast as possible, right? It goes here. Now simple. I take. Okay, we traded off 2 sets of pawns. I develop. Now, actually, in this game, I got into trouble. In this game, this was the game that I just played after winning, and so I was full of confidence, but actually, I got really nervous right away because I was like, uh-oh. It's coming in with the knight. It's coming in with the bishop, right? I'm a little bit nervous here. So what's funny is after this check, I just moved my king. So now I can't castle. Could I have, like, Giving up my queen for a rook here? Yeah, but I didn't want to. Castles, bishop e6. And I was like, I think what's going to happen in this game is Leela is going to attack me viciously. It's going to attack me with all of its pieces. But it's going to get to a point where it cannot beat me because I have a queen. It's going to utilize all of its maximum resources attacking me, right, with all these pieces, but it won't be able to beat me. My knight, my queen, everything is protecting my king, and at the end of the day, I can simplify to an endgame where I will win. And that's what happened. It took my bishop. I took with the queen. It went here, and I went here. It attacked me, and I went back, and I was like, now what? It attacked me, I went back. Now what? This is my defensive setup. It brought the bishop back, which I immediately attacked. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of the bishop. You're gonna start losing your attackers. It went here, right? A6. Rook F3. I got rid of the bishop. And then I got rid of the rook. This is the position that white is left with. Rook down. I thought this is going to be simple. B5. G6. Put my king on the safe square. It's like, there's absolutely no way I can lose this position. Right? Rook A7, I'm going to start. But then it started moving its knights in places I didn't really like. And then it kept dancing around and it perfectly repositioned itself to attack me. And I was like, this is so, there's no way I can lose to this idiot with it having no queen and now no rook. So I activated my rook as fast as possible on the second rank, and it just defended itself. It just defended itself and kind of laughed at me. And, I took a pawn. It went back and forked me, but I was like, it doesn't matter because I have an extra knight. Like, at the end of the day, at a certain point, it will run out of firepower. It went here, and then right here is where I thought I blundered. I was like, oh my God. I have to take. It's going to go bishop c4, threatening my rook and threatening a fork. But I realized, no, take here. I can still attack it. I can still keep attacking the bishop so that even if it plays rook f7 check, I win the bishop. And I'm still winning. And Benji wants to leave the room because he's had enough. He wanted reassurance. He wanted to see if he wanted to see if his dad would be coming with him. Okay, and this is over. And here I found a very nice concept to win the game, which is just pushing my pawn. And the point is, if Leela plays a7, I capture here rook c7, and this is a winning endgame because basically the rook has to stay blocking the pawn, and my king will walk over, remove it, and well. That's actually what happens in the game. We get to a position that looks like this. It has to protect itself. It actually played a really disgusting stalemate trap. It went here. So now if I queen, take, it's a draw. I just didn't do that, and I brought my king here, and now this is a win. And shockingly, I managed to checkmate it with king and rook versus king. So, yeah, this is, I was feeling really good. I was like, I figured it out. It doesn't matter if I play Sicilian, Scandinavian, as long as I'm careful, I'm going to be just fine. And then I got arrogant. And this is the final video. This is the final game of the video. This is an embarrassing conclusion. And if you had the patience to watch, you will now be rewarded. Okay. We played e4, g6 again, right? Because we wanted to develop the bishop, d6, a6, b5, like we did in game number 1, remember? Game number 1. Before we made a 130 move draw, we got to a position that looked like this. So in this game, it immediately attacked me. I went here, not letting it get any closer, right? Making a little spike, bishop g7, and now d5. I took with the queen, and then I went back. This game, I played very provocatively on purpose. I got arrogant. Like I said, I just won 2 easy games. This game was a little bit stressful. This longer one where I was only up a knight by the end of it, but you know, I was like, come get me. Plays f4. Look at this. You know what I do? Play g4. Don't let it activate its bishop. It goes here. I develop my knight, which is a pretty stupid move because it's obviously going to play d5, but I was like, I don't even care. Knight b4, and I want to play bishop to f5 and get the c2 pawn. It goes d5. It's now restricting my position even more and could potentially use the d4 square in the future, as well as a3, putting my knight on the edge of the board. I play bishop f5. It went to g3, giving me just simply giving me a pawn. It gave me a check and king f8. So it has all of its pieces out. But just like in the last game, it's going to get all of its pieces out, but it doesn't have enough pieces. So here in bishop h7, rook d1, knight f6, and I counterattack, bishop e2, I play knight c2. I played knight c2 because I was like, take it, so I could get your rook. It said, okay, so we have this position. The count of material is queen and rook for bishop and knight. I'm up 9 points, right? Like, I have a queen and a rook extra. It has a knight and a bishop extra. Queen d7. King goes to b1, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have a check. So, knight takes h5. Point being that if you take, I play here. It goes here, and I just protect against that, drop my knight back, and just give a check and start pushing. I'm like, oh, I'm totally winning. I'm just going to advance my pawn. It can't stop me. I'm going to advance these two pawns. It doesn't have a way to break. So I was like, oh, okay. At this point, anything I do, I'm going to win. Knight f1, h4. Easy. Easy peasy. Knight e4 is the next move. Trade the knight. b5, a5, b4. My king is totally safe. My king didn't castle, but it doesn't really matter. Bishop d3. I go queen d7 back. It doesn't have a move. h3 simple. Now the pawn is 2 squares away from queening. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to win every game I play. The first game was a blooper. I was nervous. It was the first game that I was playing. I didn't actually know how good Leela was going to be. But I thought, well, this will be easy, right? At this point, I'm totally full of confidence. So what do I do in this position? I imagine a world where my king is safe over here. My rooks come down this way. And I get into the position, and I promote the pawn, and I win. And I don't see how white is going to do anything. White can't go here. White can't go here. White cannot go here. White can't push the pawn. White can't even bring the knight any closer into the position, right? Even if the knight were to land on that square, it wouldn't really do anything to me. So I'm going to move my knight. I'm probably going to take the bishop here. I'm going to put something on the g file. Like, this position is completely terrible. So I get a little bit arrogant here. I said, I'm going to walk my king. What happens if I give Leela like 5 moves in a row? Look, it goes here. I'm going to keep walking my king. It's got nothing. It's going to go here. I'm going to keep walking my king. I'm not afraid of anything. Plays d6. You could even take my rook. I don't even care. All right. It goes back to h1. Wow. Defending promotion and counterattacking on this side of the board while stopping me. And I'm like, okay. I just played 4 king moves in a row. How disrespectful can I be to a 3700 level computer? Can I walk my king from f8 to b8 in the middle of the game, leaving everything else untouched? Clearly the advantage is still there. And I put my king on a7, and it attacked my queen, and I went queen f5. And I thought, well, this is easy. I'm just going to attack this pawn. It's going to defend itself. Even if it plays knight to c6, I'm always safe. I'm always safe. I'm not, I'm not quite there, but point stands. I doubt I'm going to, lose anything. Like, for example, here, knight c6, king b7, d6 it can play with various attacks on my position. But I can just take on f4. And it doesn't have enough firepower, so I play queen f5. And suddenly, it went here. And I was like, ooh. If I take that pawn, it has knight c6 check, king b7, knight takes e7. And it wins my queen. So I was like, okay, that's kind of nasty. Let's move d6. I got to be really careful about this move. If I take on f4, it's going to go here. This also does not feel very safe. It does not feel very safe. It wants me to play a5 and run out here for breathing room. Moments away from getting mated, by the way. So I said, you know what? What if I just go into an endgame where I know I cannot lose? I'm going to sack my queen for the night. Well, little old Levy did not know that where we were headed is not where we wanted to be. Now the only move I have here that doesn't lose my advantage is the absolutely ridiculous knight to e4, which I can't even begin to explain, frankly. I don't get this move at all. I guess it just doesn't let my opponent double my pawns or something. I took, and then here, my move was stupid. Of course, I should take with the king. For some reason, I just autopiloted this. It's a blitz game, and we landed in this position. I was like, well, I have 4 extra pawns in an endgame. I have 6 pawns versus 2. Obviously, I cannot lose because all these pawns are going to go up the board. It's going to try to get after my pawn, but it doesn't matter. I have so many pawns, so this will be easy. At the very least, we will draw this game, and even though we were totally winning, we'll win the next one. Except I accidentally blundered into a losing endgame and had to resign. So, basically, of course this is a drawn endgame. Essentially here, what I should do is I should push my pawn. Leela will stop my pawn, and I will run to go to those pawns. It won't let me, and then I'll play a5. If it ever takes, I have king d4, king c3, right? So if it, tries to bother me with the knight, I'll still walk over here. It will keep checking me, and I'll stay in the center. And again, you really should not let me go after those pawns. That's really what you should do. What I did, for whatever reason, is I got tunnel vision. I thought I need to try to promote this pawn. I can't do that anymore, and I shouldn't push that pawn because I need the d5 square for my king. I need to use the threat of these pawns to go after those pawns. But I was just like, I'm going to push. And then suddenly I was like, wait a minute, what do I do here? This is really bad because I'm going to lose this pawn. So I went to defend this pawn, which was already a step in the wrong direction because it has knight d3. And then I went back, and it's a blitz game, so it took my pawn, but that's not the right move, actually. It should have went knight e5, which is crazy, and then it should, like, blockade me somehow. It should actually go after that pawn. But it took, and then here, this is a draw again, but only if I go invest fully in the pawn, king g4. And for whatever reason, I didn't do this. Maybe I thought this was just losing. Like, I thought I go here, takes, f2, takes, king a6, but I guess this is a win. Yeah, I guess this is a draw. But yeah, I did this, which is I can't even explain this move, to be honest. I think I was just low on time and thought I was already going to lose. So I managed to lose. I actually did manage to lose a game while starting up a queen. And that I was like, I should not have gotten arrogant. I should have just stayed focused. I clearly won 2 games when I was focused and not doing stupid stuff. And 2, in my defense, I did literally move the king like 1, 2, 3, 4. If I didn't do that, probably I wouldn't have lost. But I learned my lesson. Now, I need to play it with no rook, and I need to play it with no knight. And I think I'm going to lose every single one of those games. So on that note, I hope you have a great rest of your whatever today is, Tuesday, or whenever you're watching this video. Friendly reminder, I'm going on tour in Europe, May 2025. I will have live special guests. I will be doing Guess the ELO live on stage. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tickets are in the description. Check out Chessly to take your chess to the next level. Get out of here.